everyone, today we'll be looking at the Masterpiece movie series MPM-12 Optimus Prime. This is Optimus Prime from the Bumblebee movie, and it is the second Optimus Prime in the MPM line behind MPM-4. This comes about 2.5, almost 3 years after the release of the Bumblebee movie, and is based more so off of the final design than something like the concept art. Alright, starting off, we'll look at the packaging. I was actually kind of surprised by how small the box was at first, and that's actually happened a good bit with some of the MPM boxes in general. Sometimes I'm amazed at how well they're able to pack everything in there. At the top right corner, you got Takara Tomy, Masterpiece movie series. Of course, you got pictures of Optimus Prime in his robot and truck mode, Transformers and Transformers Bumblebee, the movie, MPM-12, Optimus Prime, Autobot logo, 8+, Hasbro, blah, blah, blah. The top and bottom of the box is Transformers Masterpiece movie series. That side you got the truck mode and of course name, blah blah blah. The back you got more pictures and advertising that he has his ion blaster, articulated head, articulated hands and chest plates, and the matrix of leadership and blaster storage. Sometimes it kind of makes me laugh at how they advertise specific points of articulation, like the fact that it's the head, like just the head. Got the Transformers Authentic logo down here and all sorts of copyright stuff, blah blah blah. Got a picture of Optimus and truck mode here. But yeah, there is the packaging. Alright, since he comes packaged in robot mode, that's where we'll start, although I'm kind of used to going from vehicle to robot, but hey. Alright, so the robot mode I think looks pretty good. He does have some flaws, some very notable ones, and on the whole, he could certainly be a lot better than he is. And honestly, that's kind of just this figure as a whole. It's pretty decent, but it's not as good as it could be. Now, even though I do think some people tend to overblow the name Masterpiece, even I kind of think that this is kind of an overglorified Studio Series leader figure. Now, of course, the Studio Series line is great. Love it. It's probably my favorite main line right now, but this one just doesn't quite hold up to the whole Masterpiece thing. It's probably the most flawed of the MPM line, which is kind of saying something just because it has had some iffy issues with figures. Now, starting off, I do think a lot of the detail and proportions of the figure are among the most accurate of any transforming Bumblebee movie Optimus Prime design. Now, the main hindrance there is the fact that the thighs are a bit small. As you can see, the lower arms are a bit bulkier than they should be. To me, he almost has maybe Popeye arms. And really, the arms are, for me, the main source of the issues, just because they are a bit bulky. Because if you really look, I mean, he doesn't really have a whole lot of kibble like anywhere except the arms. Now, they're just kind of boxy. It's just there's extra thickness where there shouldn't be. It's just, that's like the one spot. I can maybe complain that this looks too rectangular or something, but that's really being nitpicky. It's fine. Some of the other issues that have been brought up are that the head is a bit too narrow. I actually think it looks better in person than in pictures. Heck, even when I was doing pictures for my Instagram page, which is @Talon Productions, you should check that out. But even then, some of the pictures, I was like, this looks a little weird. So yeah, I would say this figure doesn't really photograph well, which kind of sucks. But just as a figure, as a toy, he's actually pretty fun. On the whole, he looks pretty solid. He's got some pretty good articulation. Details are great. Now, onto accessories. He's got here his ion cannon, like usual. It's pretty good, looks great. My only real gripe with it is just the fact that it's got the screws and stuff on the one side, but that's kind of whatever, I guess. And it has, as always, the standard Masterpiece thing of the tab on the handle. And of course, you got his hands here, which let me also take a second to say that for me, the hands are kind of a negative. They just look so oddly like blocky, and honestly, whether they're just static or holding something, they just look really weird. But you got slot here in the palm, so just, you kind of have to watch out how the fingers are. Put it in, close it. And he holds it pretty well. It looks good. From what I've seen, it's actually able to use some of the blast effects, so you can get some pretty cool shots of it firing and whatnot. Alright, the other accessory it comes with is the Matrix of Leadership, and the way you access it is, and you're not going to believe this, you have to open up the chest. So, there you go. The windows slide out, so make sure you got them pushed all the way in, so these are all the way in. And there it is. Now the Matrix looks pretty cool. We didn't actually see this in the movie, so it will be interesting to see if this is a design that might be featured in Rise of the Beasts, or if this is something they just came up with or what. But it looks good. The handles are made out of die cast, and it actually is removable. Alright, here it is out of his chest, and let me make a quick correction that the whole thing is die cast, not just the handles. But looks great. It's got a good bit of weight to it. I love the gold and of course the blue in there. Looks good, but it's just kind of a Matrix. I've gotten so used to them being included with Optimus Primes that unless it's something super different like the Matrix of Leadership with MPM-4, I'm not really having my mind blown. Let's just slot that back in. And of course, make sure you kind of have the two nubs on the top handle facing upwards so that it goes in right. It isn't the easiest thing to get out, I've found. I just feel like you can't really get as good of a grip on it. And of course, even though I'm kind of saying, oh, it's just another Matrix, it's still cool to have it regardless. Alright, now we'll move on to the articulation. The head is a tad limited. It can swivel about that far on each side. It can look up like just a tad. It can look down a little bit. Moving to the arms go all the way up and down. They can actually butterfly forward very slightly, so it doesn't seem like much, but that's about what they got, which is cool. Arms go that far out, and this panel will move up and down with it. The elbow goes a decent bit past 90. Now, I want to point out here, you need to watch out because he does have this joint here. This is for transformation. Sometimes you will dislodge that before the ratchets engage, so you really do have to hold the shoulders with one hand and hand with the other, otherwise you'll get something like that happening. And it happens a good bit. Of course, on camera it's not doing it a whole lot, but it's happened to me a lot. And then with the hands, you can actually move them down a bit. Now that's mostly because of transformation, but you can do that if you want, and they swivel all the way around. The fingers move outward, and of course it has where the pointed finger is separated from the rest, and then the thumb is on a ball joint. It can move mostly wherever you want to. He does have a waist swivel, which goes all the way around, which is cool, and it actually extends a bit, which is pretty neat. He does have a sort of slight ab crunch in that you can do that, although I believe that's using a transformation hinge, and it's really not moving all that far forward, but again, it's there if you want to do it. Now down to the legs. I'll go ahead and move the side flaps and the front ones just so you can get the idea of the full thing. So legs can go about that far forward. Move the back ones, forgot about those. About that far back. They can go up that far. Knees. He's got a really good ankle tilt, I think, and you can move it forward and back a little bit. So yeah, on the whole, he's got what I would kind of just consider average articulation. Nothing great, but I wouldn't say anything horrible. Some parts are a bit limited, but it's just sort of standard, I guess. So yeah, on the whole, I do like the robot mode. It could be a lot better, but it's not bad. It is pretty flawed, but I do think this is an enjoyable figure nonetheless. Alright, now we'll get to the transformation. I feel like the transformation on this guy is pretty easy for the most part. I would say he's probably the least complicated of the MPM figures. Alright, so starting off here, I would say go ahead and close the fist here and have the thumb up like that, and then open up this panel and go ahead and fold fist in. So go ahead and fold these back, lift up the shins, and you see you got tab here, slot here. Head and plug those in. Take this blue piece on the back of the leg, fold up, go ahead and fold the wheels down. Then take these, which are die cast by the way, and fold them up. And what you'll see is you got a tab here and here that correspond to spots here and here. Go ahead and plug that in. This should look like that. Alright, go ahead and fold this down over that. Fold this in. The ankle bits here, go ahead and fold this out, but then fold the entire thing back around. Then here you will want to extend the foot at the ankle. What you'll want to do is bring the foot up and then sort of turn it this way. You'll see you'll have the trailer hitch details. Just make sure those are lined up. You'll bring these down and you got tab here, slot down here. Fold that down. Then as you might see, you got 3 connections for the legs. Here, here, here. Go ahead and go. and you have the back end of the truck done. Then what you want to do is maybe go ahead and extend this, and then just fold this out, and then fold it over this way. Go ahead and unplug the back piece, fold this down, and then go ahead and take this piece, put it up. Then sides here, I want to fold these back and down. Then go ahead and rotate, go ahead and take the head, fold it back. I want to fold this down. Go ahead and push the chest pieces forward. And you see they'll kind of slot in here. You might have to keep fixing these until the truck mode is all closed up, so just kind of watch out for that. And then with those forward, go ahead and fold this panel down. Next, what you want to do is you'll see you got a tab here that'll plug into a slot here. So go ahead and bring the whole back section up. Alright, so then what you want to do down here is bring this piece, fold it all the way down, and make sure those back sort of skirt pieces are also folded down. Then you want to bring the wheel pieces, fold them down and forward, and then bring this piece forward, because you got this tab right here will slot into a bit here. Alright, almost there. Now we're getting to what I kind of consider the worst part, just because I feel like the way the arms kind of sit in here are just a little odd. I don't know, but you'll want to bend it at that joint I was saying that can bend instead of the elbows, and you'll want to probably maybe go ahead and sit that down for right now and bend this around while also bending the shoulder itself back. Go ahead and bring this back up and bring that back around, and then you kind of have to just make it work. Alright, so now you got it like that. So I'd say go ahead and take this bit up here, unfold it there, and also unfold it on top. Go ahead and just have that there. Go ahead and untab the side piece and fold it down on its double hinge. Bring it in, it tabs there. And you can kind of just go ahead and sort of squish everything together. I mean, it all tabs in, it all locks in pretty solid. Then go ahead and bring this down. Alright, so just make sure you have all these pressed down. Make sure those interlock with each other. See, these, the dreaded cat ears. You got a rectangular tab here, rectangular slot, and go ahead and plug those in. This piece will fold up this way because it's got slots here that will plug into here. It's got two tabs here that this will plug into. So kind of plug it into those first, bring that, slot in. And last but not least, even though you could have done this pretty much at any time, go ahead and turn the smokestacks. Alright, here he is in his truck mode, and we're at definitely the less good, to say the least, of the two modes. I'll just go ahead and say it. I actually don't hate this. It's not great. I would definitely say it's not necessarily, masterpiece level, but on the whole, I think it's a decent truck mode just for what it is. So let's go ahead and talk some of the more glaring issues. First being, of course, these pieces. People keep saying they look like cat ears, blah 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 this, blah 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 that. I don't really care, or maybe I've just gotten used to them, but even when the pictures first came out, I was kind of just like, whatever on them. They're not really an eyesore, I guess is what I'm saying. It would have been nice if they found a way to either fold this way or that way. I don't really see why they couldn't have. Maybe just forego the locking tabs here just to fold either way. For me, I think the bigger of the two major problems that people had is the stripe, because here, on the front, if you look, you got this really cool sort of fade where it goes from sort of white to a silver, and it looks super cool. But then you turn it over and it's just white. Like, I don't really get why they went that route. It's one of those things where I can kind of ignore it, but anytime I really look at it, I notice it. That's just one where I'm like, come on, man. I mean, you got various other things, like there's a gap here. I'm not too picky on that just because of the robot mode, but it would have been maybe cool if there's some sort of slider or just a fold out piece. A gap here, which can look a little odd. There's this gap here, although that isn't really a big deal for me. I've seen many people complain about that, but I'm not really bothered by that. I've even seen the length of the truck be an issue, but again, that doesn't really bug me. I think the truck that he turns into in the movie is supposed to be pretty long, although I think I've also seen where this truck is actually the wrong model compared to the movie. I can't remember if that's true or not. You guys should let me know in the comments. So the truck mode is where his diecast becomes apparent because it's the fuel tank, well the fuel tank and really the whole joint that goes all the way down here. The ion cannon can actually store for truck mode. It actually has a slight bit of transformation in order to store. You've got a double joint here that you just bend, and you got to make sure this part folds into here, right? And you see he's got 2 tabs on this side that will go in to there. Make sure the gun is technically upside down, so you got the handle and stuff there. Doesn't look too great, but hey, you might as well add something to go with the horrible cat ears. As I guess for articulation, if you want to call it that. Wheels roll, that's good. Yeah, most wheels should do that. He rolls pretty good. So yeah, on the whole, this truck mode is flawed, a lot more flawed than the robot mode, but again, I don't really hate it. For me, the truck mode isn't great. I guess it's just barely good. Like, I know that's damning praise, but it's not a disaster to me. This figure is a pretty mixed bag. It's got some good things going for it. I feel like it's a very playable toy with some good detail and honestly some of the best paint of the MPM line, which may be saying something about the MPM line itself, I don't know. But he looks pretty good, it's just he has some very notable flaws. Is this worth the regular retail from Target? I'm not sure. That's about what, $125, $130? And I do feel like that is definitely a bit high. If you want it, go for it. I feel like if you kind of know a lot of these problems going in, you won't have as much of a problem with it as some other people might. Not the worst figure ever, but certainly not the best figure ever. But it definitely just feels like a rushed out figure to either meet the demand of people wanting a masterpiece grade figure of this design, or to just get a figure out of this design before Rise of the Beasts comes out next year, so that's supposed to have pretty much the same design just with some updates. So yeah, I would say if you know what you are getting into, this is a solid buy. Just keep a lot of that in mind when you do get it. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like and comment on whether you like this figure, if you would recommend it personally. What do you think about it? And as always, if you like this and want to see more, please think about subscribing. Thank you guys for watching and have a great day.